My guest is a stand-up comedian and podcaster. She's been featured on E! Channel's Celebrity Game Face with Kevin Hart and Comedy Central's This Is Not Happening. Excited to welcome B-Phlat.
Hey Adam, how are you? First
I'm
of all,
good.
thank you so much for that really nice intro. And I didn't get to hear your dope ass music, so I'll have to
Yeah,
listen next time. Um, and I want to say, please bear with me. I just came from doing like a crazy show in St. Louis where I was like off the chain and had a wonderful time because I was home. Plus, I had meetings and shit while I was there. So I'm just trying to get my voice back, drinking
yeah,
some
yeah.
tea. So,
Last time we worked together, you had a similar thing happen. After like 4 or 5 shows, your shit gets raw every time.
yeah. Well, this is only after one show. But the
Really?
funny thing is, I was home. But when I'm home in St. Louis, I'm like kicking it up with my friends, and they're like,
Yeah,
"Oh,
yeah,
let's go do karaoke. Let's do this." And I be doing all this shit before the show. I shouldn't be doing.
yeah, yeah,
And then,
yeah.
like I said, I have moves. Then I was like, "Fuck, this is how I'm gonna sound at the show." And then I got there early. I was signing my newspapers because I was in the newspaper there. So the guy dropped off a stack. So people got there early to talk to me, and then I was signing. So by the time the show started, I already had
Yeah,
sounded like
yeah,
this.
yeah.
Yeah.
And you kind of need your
Fuck.
pipe. Like you need that range with what you do on stage.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, yeah,
You saw how I get down, and
yeah,
that wears me out. And I did a whole hour. And when I looked at my phone, I was like, 1 hour and 2 minutes. I was like, I'm getting off the goddamn stage. I
yeah,
was like, I've
yeah,
been up here an hour. You didn't tell me. I was like, y'all money been ran out.
yeah.
Shit, they
That's
ain't paying me
wild.
to do no hour. I just love being on stage. So,
Oh, for sure. So we work together. I want to give Nate a quick shout out at Nate Jackson's Super Funny Comedy Club in Tacoma, and he like put me up to feature, and it was a lot of fun. Ashley Rushin, Keon Lowry was there. Trying to think who else we had that week. It
uh,
was super fun.
well, Bernadette filled in for you. Bernadette
Yeah,
Yee.
yeah, Bernice
Bernice.
Yee. Yeah,
Sorry,
yeah, yeah,
Bernice. That's
yeah. And I
still a
did
black
want to
name.
say,
Don't ask the name.
I did want to say thanks. You gave us a bunch of shout outs on your podcast. So, I mean, it's to have a headliner do that, that's fucking really nice and thoughtful. So, thank you.
Thank you. I don't know any other way. So it was so funny with getting there, and everybody was like, "Can we do this?" And everybody was asking me for permission, and I'm like, "We're all comics. We're all, I don't care. I don't care." And everybody kept saying, "Oh my God, you're so nice," because other headliners, and it's sad. I want to apologize for the headliners out there that are being assholes to the
Yeah,
new comedians that are up. I really do, Adam, because I look at it like somebody helped me up. You know what I
sure.
mean? So I feel like we all have to help each other. And I'm not that kind of person. I'm not one of those that be like, get them off stage and bumping people. I've never done that. And
Yeah,
people, well, you see how I get when you work with me. I'm just a regular person. I'm just nice. I come to work like everybody else. So I don't want drama. I don't like drama.
yeah.
So,
That's hard to keep that
just
though
have
when you're the one that's like putting asses in seats. Like there's a lot of people that like I think they kind of lose that or they never had it. Like it's just such a
I
like
with you.
yeah,
I'm
it's
gonna
like a
go
Mamba
with the
mentality almost. Like they just fucking they're it's
you know
all
what
about
I
them.
see. I guess because I've been in this business for so long as I should, because it's my career and it's what I do. So that makes a difference between like comics that just look at this as like a hustle and a gig versus those that look at it as a career.
For sure.
So this is my career. Yeah, and I feel like I have to always reinvent myself, kind of like doctors have to go to continuing education classes and stay on top of shit. I feel like I have to do that in this business. I can't just ride on my name and having people come see me doing jokes I did 20 years ago. And
For
then
sure.
my insecurities set in, and I only want people opening for me that aren't as funny or be like, oh, just give me somebody that can do 10 minutes because I'm going to go out and do my old shit. I'm not
Yeah.
like that. Not at all.
Yeah.
And I feel I like being around the new and the upcoming because it keeps you on your toes.
For
It
sure.
should, because if somebody out there is just as hungry as you are. And I feel like we all got to eat, so I'm going to stay hungry. I
Yeah.
never
Yeah.
felt like I'm at a point where I'm fed. And even when I feel as though I'm fed, I'm still not because I still got to eat every
Definitely.
day like everybody else. So I will never be that person. And believe me, I've been on all kind of shows and had thousands come see me, and people be like, "Can I be in your dressing room?" And I don't give a fuck. And people like, "Why you letting them in your room?" I don't even be in the dressing room. You know what I'm saying? I like to be out in the audience, see what people are doing, kick
Hmm.
back. I'm not that. I'm not that person like, oh, keep me in the back. Don't let nobody see me. I want to walk out and make. Nobody give a fuck about all that. I walk
Yeah.
up to the stage like everybody else. Yeah. So I thank
Well,
you for just allowing
speaking of
me.
eating, anybody
Mhm.
listening to us on or watch us on YouTube right now, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, hit the notifications bell so you don't miss our upcoming content. We are on Patreon if you want to support the episode, patreon.com/FNFpod. And you have a bunch of stuff online, like, and you told me something kind of crazy. Don't you have like you have this house with like you have no guest rooms, but how many rooms are in the house?
Now here's a prime example, Adam. I'm gonna turn. You're looking at my basement. I got the
Okay.
whole basement. This is
Yeah.
my ladies' lair. My husband don't even come down here. So that's how
Yeah.
we are. Like the whole second floor is his floor. My yoga room is up there, which he uses for like training. We just meet in the middle. But in the middle is where we live. So there's no space for
Yeah.
people to be spending the night and shit. And believe me, I had a bathroom, a refrigerator, and a microwave right here in my office on the first floor. Whole bedroom, living room. That's a living room over there. My
I've
ladies'
never
lair
heard of
with a
I've never heard the lady layer. That's like a new
oh yes,
term that I respect it.
mhm, yes. And my husband's man cave up on the second floor. So his man cave, his office, and the yoga rooms. That's three bedrooms right there.
Yeah,
So
that's
we don't have
wild.
no space, and there's a kitchen up there, and a kitchen and a bathroom. So when people spend the night, they had to come down here and sleep on my futon that's over there, or I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
Or you can go sleep
It's,
on the yoga mat in the yoga room,
or a hotel, yeah.
or a hotel. Thank you. We have three
Yeah.
floors. I tell people all 9 rooms and one bedroom, three living rooms, three bathrooms, two kitchens, and one bedroom.
Yeah.
That's right. Go take your ass to a hotel.
Well, you never wanted kids, or was it like just not in the cards, or never
No, I
wanted?
never wanted kids. Wedlock.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
I never wanted kids. I never wanted to be a baby mama, ever. And I've been engaged 5 times, Adam. And all my fiance was like, "Oh, when we gonna have a baby?" When you put 2 rings on my finger,
Yeah, yeah.
not before then. But I never got around to that point with my 4 other fiancés. I never even planned a wedding. It was one
Yeah.
of those. They gave me the ring so that I could try and make up my mind. Cause I never was like the marrying type. I knew me.
Yeah.
I was wild, Adam. I had a boyfriend. You want to do that joke? I be telling my husband, spread my ashes everywhere I fuck. And he's like, we ain't fucked
I
that many
forgot
places.
about that
I
joke.
said, "Fuck." Shit, if you walk out this house, you throw some ashes out. Shit. So I live a really great life. And that's why I got married, because I was tired. Or I settled down. And I was
Yeah.
like, Lord, just send me a nice. He did. But I got it out of my system. But it took
Does
me a
it come
minute.
back every once in a while though? Does it flare up?
It don't flare up.
That's
It
good.
don't. That's why you get married. That's why you gotta know
Yeah.
you married. That's why you get married so you can stop fucking. It don't flare up. No. You know married people don't be fucking. So
But how do you
we
like
do it when we feel like
if you live that wild
huh?
of like if you live that lifestyle where you're like constantly kind of living wild, does it is it boring once you get into marriage, or is it just different?
No. Marriage is different because that lifestyle, like I said, it's a lifestyle. And it was something to do everywhere I went in the different countries. And I mean, I dated everybody all over the world. I had somebody everywhere I landed, even in St. Martin. Shit. So, but that was fun. You know, it was like, oh, I'm here. I don't give a fuck about these hoes. Tell them I'm in town. Whatever. I'm in the city. We kicking it, and then I'm out. So that was the fun part about my life. But then I got to a point where I was getting so busy just being everywhere. I can't do it to everybody everywhere. So then it gets boring.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's when I was like, I'm gonna tell you, me and my best friend, I called her. I said, "Girl, I'm getting ready to reclaim my celibacy for like 6 months. Let's do it together." So we made like a list of everybody we fucked, and then the pages started flipping over like 3 columns, and I kept forgetting names and shit. Then I just said, "Fuck it," because I really wanted to know my number. And then once I got past like 150 some shit, I was like, "Fuck it," because I couldn't read. I really had to start digging, and then that's when I said to myself, fuck it, I'm reclaiming my celibacy. So then it turned into 3 years. And I enjoyed it. And then it's funny, I got married right after that.
Huh.
Because it was just like this. Yeah, I was like, you know what? I'm enjoying this because I really worked on me and just kind of figured me out and what I wanted in life. And I just prayed that God would send me a good man. That all I said, Lord, just send me a good man that don't snore. And that's all I asked for. And I have the greatest husband. And we've been married going on 14 years now.
Yeah, you guys met though
And it's just
differently. Like you knew his
his mama.
mom.
Go on ahead. Yeah.
I want to talk about
Because
this a
I
little
had
bit. The cougar, yeah, the cougar aspect of stuff's interesting
I'm a
here.
cougar.
You're
I
not a
told you I'm a
cougar?
cobra. Cobra. I sink in. To fame, sink in. I am a grown ass woman. But the funny thing is, my husband is 16 years younger than me. And I did know his mom, who's in our living room in an urn. Rest in peace, Peachy. But I knew her through my best friend, which happens to be like a best friend of hers. So it's funny. I had only met her maybe like 3 or 4 times in life before she passed away.
Okay,
And
so it wasn't
then
like
after
your
that,
best friend.
oh, no, no, no. Her
Yeah,
best friend was my
that
best.
would have been a weird look to
And
have, like your
then
best
get away
friend
from
going for it.
well, at the time, my husband was 12 when his mom passed away. And I
Okay,
was like 20 something, like maybe 22 or something. And I didn't see him because his dad wasn't bringing him around a whole bunch of cackling women. You know, his daddy didn't hang around us. So Dennis only came around us when he was with his mother.
yeah,
So I didn't see him for like until he was 24. And he came to my show. And I remember his face. And I remember going in the bathroom and I walked past him. I was like, wait a minute. I think that's Peachy's son with them big ass muscles. Adam. I was literally in the stall holding my drawers and shit in the middle. And I was like, I think that's Dennis's. I think that's Dennis. And I walked out and I walked up to him. I was like, Dennis? And he was like, yeah. I was like, Peachy's son? And he was like, I was like, let me get us a seat. The place was packed to death. I didn't have anywhere to sit. But I found us 2 seats at this bar. Somebody was leaving, and I was like, come over here. And we've been together ever since. Isn't
that's
that
wild.
crazy?
Yeah, that's
It is wild. And my husband, 16 years older than me. He's such an old spirit because his parents were old. He's really old. And I have such a young spirit. We listen to 2 different types of music and just everything about him is more like intellectual. And I'm super like ratchet, like ghetto. You know, not ghetto, but you know me. I don't give a fuck. But my
yeah.
husband is more refined, and but he's but we match. We match up. We both
Well,
smoke. We're both vegan. Yeah.
I've been in age gap relationships before, and
Hmm.
there's a lot of stigma with them, but my experience has
Yeah.
been like it's been really good. Like I don't know. I mean, have you been in other relationships where there's been a substantial age gap?
Yeah. But I've always dated younger men. I don't know why. For I do
Really?
know why. Because they know old motherfuckers. They be talking about Vietnam and be looking like my daddy. And I'm 55. And I don't want no motherfucker that's 56 and be 60 and talk about Persian Gulf War and shit like that. I ain't got nothing to do with that. So I have a younger spirit that doesn't match up with older men. And I listen to rap. I listen to all kind of music, hip
Yeah.
hop, rap, ratchet, trap music, shit, country music. I listen to everything, and I don't feel older. I guess because I've always been a vegan since '89,
Hmm.
so I don't match up with. It's funny. I just took a picture with my brothers and my cousins, and they're younger than me at my show. They're all gray. They look a hot motherfucking mess. And I'm in the picture looking fly and and I'm the older sister. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So when people look at me and my husband, they think we're like the same age because he has the gray in his beard, and my husband ain't even 40. He
that's
38.
that's wild.
So
Is there anything
it's
though
funny because
where you feel the age difference? Like, is there any aspect of it where you're like this?
well, I guess because I'm having hot flashes and I always think he gonna leave me because I'm at my hot flashes. But I'm like, but that make my coochie juicy because I'm wet, I'm sweaty. But I never think it's nothing that I'm going through because I'm not the average person my age. You know, I teach yoga, I run. Shit, I be running out here, running 3, 4 miles 3 times a week. And he's a personal trainer. And I got him into what he does because my husband used to be really big. And
Really?
now he's like 185 solid. Yes, he used to weigh like 280. And when I met
Damn.
him, he had just lost some of the weight. Yeah. So he changed his lifestyle because he got sick of me cooking 2 separate meals. Because I was like, I'm not cooking that shit in my pan. I don't eat chicken. I don't
Yeah.
eat hamburgers and stuff
But
like
now you
that.
guys are just going
So
through
it would
like
take.
toilet paper like crazy.
Oh, my mother said we can't spend the night at her house no more because she's like, y'all motherfuckers ran through 6 rolls of toilet paper in 2 days. It's impossible. I was like, bitch, we vegans. We stay on the toilet.
Yeah,
So when we
yeah,
go there, she makes us our own toilet paper. And we don't mind because we know we run through some toilet paper.
yeah, yeah. You
Yep.
guys got to get a bidet.
We have chairs hanging in the bathroom
Yeah,
because when he done, he's sitting right in there. We be smoking, then I get up and sit right on top of his shit, and then we flush one time. We saving water. We're conservative. We are concerned about the environment. We don't just be flushing and flushing and flushing. Yes, all day long. People be like, y'all nasty. But we're like that. We love each other. We don't give a fuck. We don't even think about it. He
that,
comes right in every morning and put the chair down, and we just be talking, and I'll be taking a dunk. And then he'll take a dunk, and I'll still stay in there with him, and we talk, and we drink coffee. We'll be in the bathroom about an hour
that is.
together. We got 3 toilets. Ain't that crazy? And we only use that one together every morning. I rarely use my own bathroom down here. He has his own bathroom on the second floor. First floor, we dunk it out.
How is this? How am I finding out this about this right now? That's one of the funniest things I've ever heard anybody say.
That's the fucking truth. And
Oh my
people always
god.
say that to me. And even like if I'm on the phone talking to my sister, I'll be right on the toilet. And my husband be like, good morning, Jada. And she'd be like, he in the bathroom. I'd be like, girl, you know you in the bathroom in here with me.
That's so
He'd be like,
wild.
hey, Jada. We've been like that
That
ever
is
since we got married. It's
hilarious.
funny because we don't like to be apart from each other. It's like we're always around each other no matter what. We take a shower together. We do everything together.
That's
Go to
awesome.
bed together, get up together. And it's been like that for 14 years. We do everything together, Adam. I'm talking about if I go out, we do these things called 10-minute dates. So I'll be like, I'm going to walk to the post office and get a water ice. Do you want to go on a speed date? And he'll be like, yeah. So he'll come down from like a training session and we walk hand in hand and go get an ice cream and go drop shit off at the post office and come back and then go back to work. And it was
That's
like our
awesome.
speed date for the day. If we don't get to see each other during the day. Because literally, I could be down here working all day and he'll be training people virtually upstairs or training them in the gym or at the gym. So I may not even see him. And like
That's
when he's
wild.
training, I don't go up there and bother him. He's working. His whole, we have a second floor apartment. It's a whole separate entrance and everything, which he uses as his office, the gym, and the yoga room.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
That's cool
I
though.
don't
I
go up
like
there because
that.
it's work. Yeah, and that's what works for us. Because like I said, we meet in the middle. So he'll lock his door. I sit down here, go upstairs, and we live on the first floor.
I was working
Yeah.
last night with this
Mm-hmm.
comic James Davis. I don't know if you know him,
Mm-hmm.
but it was him and
I
Quentin
don't think so.
Jones, and we were talking about like how hard it is to date a comedian, like how just challenging it is for like a performer to find a relationship. And I think the best I've heard is just like finding somebody that's as passionate about what they're doing as what you are, but it's not easy to
Exactly.
find. Like, and also them being okay with like the travel and the fuck. Like, I mean, is that a tax on your relationship with him, or have you guys found balance?
It's not taxing. You know why? Because we're both our own bosses. So I'll plan shit out, and he knows I'm working. So it's not
Mm-hmm.
like I'll leave out here and I'm going 6 months or a month at a time. You see what I'm saying? I
Yeah.
fly out, I'm working, I'm home. So I don't, if I'm going 3 days, it's 3 days out of my life with him. You see what I'm saying? So I don't look at it like, if you start looking at the cumulative, and I think a lot of people look at the cumulative in the relationship, like, oh, they're going to be all gone all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's their job. So look at the time that they're there, not when they're gone.
Yeah.
So that's how we look at it. And my husband, he teaches classes down in Miami twice a year. And he's gone like 7 days. I've never been, Adam. I
Yeah.
don't go down there because I don't like Miami. It's like we don't cross our business. I don't look at his phone. I don't even know how to get in his phone. He don't do my. We're not like that because
Yeah.
we have a life together. So our work life is what brings us together. And I don't think people look at it. You got to make money, and the other person has to make money so that y'all can be together. Does that
Mm-hmm.
make sense?
Yeah.
So
No,
that's
it's
how we
it's
look
a
at it. Yeah,
not
I think
everybody
people spend
does
too.
though.
They need to look, they think about, here's the thing, Adam. Even if you had a job and you were there every day, say you had a girlfriend who was like, oh, you're always gone. Y'all lifestyle is still not going to match up because you're going to be working no matter what. And she's going to be working. So you still got to find balance somewhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know what it is? People think, well, 90% of the time they're right. People think that when we're out on our job, we out kicking it and people are all around us and we just drinking and eating up and we're having a great time. And a lot of comedians are, but I'm not. And it's
Yeah.
all in how you handle your business and how you respect your relationship that you go back to. So that's what makes the difference. You see what I'm saying?
For sure.
You know plenty of comedians that have bitches come and meet them at the out of town, but that's the stuff that that woman knows her husband. So it don't matter if he was a motherfucking comedian on the road or if he was at home. He's still gonna be doing the same shit. If he cheating,
Oh,
he
for
cheating.
sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So exactly. So that's why that's all it is. These women be like, oh, all those women are around him, they're hugging him. He was doing all of that before. That's why you worried about that. Because if he wasn't worried about that, then you know it comes with the territory. If you trust your man, you would be worried about him taking a picture with a bitch and somebody hugging him, right?
Yeah, and some of that stuff's just not sustainable either, too. Like
Well,
you like you were talking about your voice going out and stuff like the just the aspect of being on the road and being consistent, it's like it's super hard. And you're somebody that like you said you don't really repeat the same set time to time. Like you're doing a different set every night. So you got to be on your game. And I don't think when people that come to a comedy show, they don't really understand like that's
the
in that moment, it's you don't know what's happening. You know, like you're kind of finding the game is like unfolding in real time, so you don't know if it's going to be good or bad. And sometimes it can go sideways, and it's all this like you're very present. Like that's the hard part is to just like stay present and be in the moment, and still have material, still have like what you got to do. But like, when did you? Have you always never like repeated material like that? Has it always been like set list naked for you?
Um, well, yeah, because I don't really have a set because I smoke too much weed to be trying to remember shit.
Yeah.
So it's easier, and that's why I just started recording my shows because I have OCD, so I have to really be in control of shit. But at the
Hmm.
same time, because I'm a creative, some things I can't control. So that's why when I'm on stage, I may talk and say the same joke, but it'll come out differently. And then when I listen to the tape, I'll be like, oh, that was some funny shit. I never said that in that context that way. And like you said, you're in the moment. You don't know what you're going to say. So I may have things I want to talk about. And then I get tired of hearing me tell the same fucking joke. So it's not funny to me anymore. So that's why I challenge myself to go out and just talk shit or just put together a set while I'm out there, see what works. And then I
Yeah.
listen to it the next day. Like, oh, they laughed at this. And then I'm like, oh. And as I'm listening to shit, I'll start thinking of other things to write. And then I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do this tonight. I've never been one of those people that go to open mic night and try shit out. Never. I
Yeah. Well,
never did that. Because to me, that's a
that's
waste of
so
time. Because I ain't
that
making no
that
money doing that. I take my shit
that's like
straight to the stage. Like nobody heard it before. How do they know if it's open mic or not? It either works or it doesn't. So that's
yeah.
why I'm like, fuck it, I'm going straight to the stage with it.
So
That's
here's
what they
my
paying me
question
for.
with that, because I definitely
Hmm.
do a lot of mics, and I know a lot of people that do, and like they're to me they're like there's a different value in that. There's a lot of people that don't do mics at all, and I like there's not this set path of like how you do this thing or whatever. But when you're doing, say you're doing a show like that where you're like talking a lot of shit and you don't have your set list, like you're going out there and winging it. What do you do when it starts going sideways? Like when you don't catch, like if you don't catch momentum, and like do you ever have shows like that where you don't find the connection with the
Hmm.
audience, and then yeah, so what like is there a certain point in
Well, I
time where
have
you're just
so
like
much material. No, because if you're paying attention to your audience, there's a difference between E.F. Hutton and people listening to you, and motherfuckers just like, oh, she's not funny. And if you're paying attention, I pay attention. And that's how I can flip my shit and be like, oh, I don't be all like, oh, well, that joke's not working. If people aren't feeling it, I'll take a sip and I'll move right into something else. And
yeah.
that is exactly why I can sit in the back. That's why I don't have a set. I have to be out in the beginning of the show, see who's in there and what may or may not work. Because every audience is different. So I just like
Hmm.
to get a feel. And then I'll be like, oh, I don't think I want to talk about this. I may talk about that. So I know how to stay present.
Yeah.
Because we're a lot of times we're present in material, but we're not present in what's going on out there. And then when you start hearing the fucking mixer going in the back at the bar and rattling and people talking, and then it's like, you're not paying attention. You need to step your shit up or get off the stage. Because I paid attention early on. In the early 2000s, when motherfuckers, I wasn't funny, I'll be like, all right, y'all have a good time. Enjoy yourself and get off.
Yeah.
But now I'm past that because I know how to get them back or reel them in or no matter what it is because I know how to stay present with me and the audience.
So
And
where
that's the trick.
you started though around a bunch of like in the Philly scene, like you started with Big
Mhm.
J, right? Like he was around at the time. And was
Mhm.
Kevin Hart around at that time?
Yep.
So like what were you doing? Like how did you get into this? Cuz you went to art school, like fucking like it's such a weird career path to get into. Like how did you
It's a
start?
weird career. Well, here's the story. I used to work at Meseroff, Gelman, Jaffe, Kramer, and Jameson. It's the law firm where they filmed the movie Philadelphia.
Okay.
I was the marketing director there. And it was only four black people on our 7 floors of 180 people, employees, right? Me, one black partner, two other attorneys, and me, the marketing director. So I had to deal with all these partners, and I used to talk about their ass every day. I mean, they used to get on my fucking nerve. Every paralegal or assistant, they would come past and they'd be like, when we do unilaw, you should go up and roast the partners. So I never thought about it because I was like, oh, they going to fire my black ass. I ain't doing that. But they got on my nerves so much, I was at a point where like, I don't even give a fuck if I get fired from this job, right?
Okay.
So I used to do these things called Unilaw, which was 10 large law firms from around the nation. And we would meet in the Poconos on a retreat to bridge the gap between the partners and associates. So they had like fun shit to do. And we learn all this new shit coming out about law. So I would host the roast between the partners and associates. I
Mhm.
used to eat their ass up. Everybody used to be like, "Oh my God, you're so funny, you're so funny," and I used to be like, "They're so right, they're so right," and then I quit. I quit on their ass and started doing my own room. I started getting all the shit I need to set up my own office. You know, like most black people, I was stealing shit every day, setting up my whole office. And I quit after my birthday on April 17th. I never did it, 1997. And I never had a job since. But I had my whole office set up at home. And I used to do comedy on the side and write for ESPN Magazine, Source Magazine. Um, what other? I wrote like articles, like funny clips and stuff for magazines. That's how I made like and did graphic art. Cause I used to
Hmm.
run a little graphic arts company, write graphics. So
What
that's how
year
I
was
made my
this?
money from 97 up into 2000. Because after that, I became comedian full time
Yeah.
for three
And
years. Yeah.
was the internet like full fledged at that point? No, so it
No,
was.
that's when
I
they
mean,
had like,
how did you even know to do that stuff? Like that's crazy to me that like
because
to
I was actually, how did I know to design things or
or the
what?
right
Like,
like
what do you,
what was the process of getting in ESPN
oh,
magazine like that?
well, one of my friends wrote, okay, so think about it like this. In 97 is when I started, 96 is when I started doing comedy. Kind of like open mic go to find out people were like, oh, you're funny. I started my own room in 97. Me and a guy named Mutton called Tickle Me Tuesdays. Mutton is the guy that wrote the commercial. Well, remember those commercials? His name is Fred Thomas. So he
Huh.
and I started. Well, his stage name was Mutton, Mutton. So him and three other dudes from Philly, they wrote that Bud. Remember that commercial, that
Oh
Budweiser
yeah,
commercial?
that was a
Everybody
huge
got
commercial.
yeah. So Mutton and I started Tickle Me Tuesday. And when we started that, because I'm a designer, I used to design all our flyers and all that kind of stuff. Oh, and let me back up. I was doing a JD MBA program for graduate school. So I used to write all the comedians' contracts in my dining room at my first house. They'd be in there up against my wall. I'd be doing all the headshots, and they would pay me $100, and I would give them 5 VHS tapes of their thing. That's how I was making my money on side Adam. Five, and I would give them their pictures, their bio and headshot in a packet. Because that's back in the day when you had to mail stuff out to promoters, and they'd be like, "We need your VHS tape." So from Michael Blackson, you know Michael Blackson,
Oh yeah,
the African King of Comedy,
yeah, yeah.
Kevin Hart, all of them was in my dining room, got their first headshots in my dining room because that's what I was doing for Blue Rhine Graphics and writing. So my friend Ursula, I would go up to New York and do a couple things, and she's like, "You're so super funny. We got," and she knows I'm smart because everybody knew I was doing law school. I used to write for ESPN. I went to this event in San Diego, and that's where it was like a big comedy thing I got asked to do, and we were all out there, and we actually stayed in the room together. And she was like, "Girl, it's opening. I want you to write." So I did that, and because I got that, I started writing for Source magazine because the
Hmm.
comedian Talent. I don't know if you know him out of New York.
I don't think so.
He had a thing that he did in the Source magazine back in the day, and once he saw my stuff, he was like, "Oh, I want you to write." So I used to just do
Wait,
like
so
funny
you were going to
writing
law
articles
school
and
and
stuff.
doing it was a JD MBA program you were doing in
But then
addition to all of this?
I moved to Philadelphia when I graduated from art school to
You
go
went
to
from
because
art school to law school?
I wanted I wanted to be the curator of a museum of the like MoMA or Philadelphia Art Museum, but you have to have a law degree because you're dealing with acquisitions that are priceless. So you have to understand you don't have to practice law, but you have to know all of the legal stuff because people don't think about when a Cezanne or a Van Gogh comes from Paris here. Everything in between is legal work from the shipping,
Sure.
how it's handled, how it's packed, all of that stuff, and how you're responsible for it for however long it's going to be in residency at your gallery. So they require, and I was like, fuck it, I got tired of it. I dropped out. But the
I did
point is, because I
I
had
did
all of
too.
this, yeah,
I
I
went to law
ended up
school
working.
too.
Yeah,
I don't think
so
I talked to
well,
you about that.
oh, it was a mess, but I learned a lot in a year. My eyes went bad from all of the reading, and I was like, I can't read all this shit, all it. I don't know how my friends made it through law school, but like they
No,
say,
it's insane.
and
I did the
most
same
people
thing.
drop.
I dropped out after a year.
Most people drop out because law school is not easy. And I
It
took all that shit, the
sucks.
GRA, the LSAT,
Yeah.
everything. I was like, I knew I was going to graduate school, but I ended up working at an art gallery. I was a manager at Sorry, it's an Indonesian art gallery, teaching ceramics at Moore College of Art, and then I got the job at the law firm in marketing as the marketing director. And that was my last job, and I ain't had no job since.
That's crazy. That so
Yep.
when you were doing
Then
all
you
that stuff for like
yeah.
say that one more time, you cut out a little bit.
I was creating my own opportunities because I vowed I would never work for anybody else once I quit
Hmm.
working. So that's why I was writing and throwing trips. I was event planning. I still do it to this day. I do all kind of shit, Adam, keep money flowing up
Damn.
in here. I've cut down on a lot of stuff, but believe me, I use all my God given talents. I used to cut hair, do prom makeup, sew, hem prom dresses, whatever. I cut my husband hair. I be trimming up beards. My cousin Jan come down here every 2 weeks and get a ball fade. I be
Yeah.
hooking people up. Yes, because I do my own hair, nails, makeup, make my own clothes. So people be like, girl, can my daughter come get her prom makeup? I be like, yes, I do all of that.
Well, here's a
I'm
question
all.
for you, because you have
Mm-hmm.
that like hustle mentality. Like as somebody that
Mm-hmm.
headlines now, like there's this big disconnect of like how do you go from when you're opening for people or like starting out in comedy to getting to that place? Like, do you have advice for people that are trying to do that?
Well, first, I don't understand what the disconnect is because I feel like everybody eventually ascends to that. So, excuse me, but explain to me where the disconnect is. Do you feel if it's a disconnect, I think it might be that people may be jealous of you or of that person and don't want them headlining, don't want them on the stage. Because I
Yeah,
can't see it. It just seems like a natural progression. If you're fucking funny, you're going to headline.
yeah.
So you have to
How
explain to
long
me
did
where
it
the
take for you
disconnect is.
to how long did it take for you to go from like starting out to headlining?
Uh, well, shit, I've been headlining since, okay, maybe about 7 years.
Okay.
About 7, yeah, about
Yeah.
7 years.
And so during that time, the 7 years you were hustling, you were like, doing all those side stuff. Like I think a lot of people they feel like directionless before they can start making money from stand up
Oh,
and they're
yes.
trying to figure out like how to get better and how to get funnier and like during that time you had a bunch of shit you were doing on the side, but you're also doing a lot of shows too, right?
Yeah. And that's why I quit doing a lot of shit on the side because my shit was picking up. And
Yeah,
see, that's why I tell a meeting that I meet, and this is my always my best advice, is to always tape your show on your phone and sit and listen to it and close your eyes and listen to it and pretend you're in the audience and just listen to where people are laughing. Don't listen to yourself. You just listen to where you hear motherfuckers laugh and mark it and be like, okay, they laugh when and that's how I built my shows. Because some stuff you may not even like. And then it might not even be a joke you like, but motherfuckers laughed at it. And then that forces you to work on it. Does that make sense?
sure.
But I feel like we're our own worst critics. It's hard for us to listen to ourselves, and it is. But at the same time, I don't think a lot of us put in the work. It's easy to jot shit down, but it's harder to always go back and review and follow up. I know
Sure.
plenty of comedians. This is one thing that I hate. I think it's so fucking whack. Comedians that come on stage with their papers and shit, be flipping around, reading the jokes. And I'm like, is this a show or is it open mic? And I've seen people do that at a fucking show that people are paying like they didn't pay $100 to get in here and see motherfuckers, and you standing up there with your paper out or you looking on your phone like you're not confident in what you're doing. So to me, that makes me feel like you're not ready for like a main stage. You need to stay the fuck at an open mic
Yeah.
because you got to engage with the audience. You got to bring them into your world. You can't have them looking at you like you fucking insecure about your shit. You don't know your shit. You wrote it. You don't know your own shit. That's like a fucking singer not knowing their own song and got to
Here's
go
a
up there
question
and
though.
have words on karaoke. You be like, what the fuck? Beyonce got to read her words, right?
Here's my
That's how
question
I
though:
look
is
at it.
say you go a month and a half without doing like I don't know what your gap is between when you do shows. Like say you have a longer period of time without doing a show. Do you ever feel like you forget stuff like draw blanks on stage? Because that's always my concern is like when I'm doing a longer set, like anything over like 30 minutes or so, like I'm like I know I have these jokes, I just can't remember what like what they are.
Are those the edibles, Adam? It might be the edibles.
No, I
I'm just
like
fucking.
I
Oh, okay, so
because
that right there will tell you the difference between a feature and a headliner. You got 30 solid minutes.
yeah,
That's feature.
yeah.
When you start to stretch it to like your 35, 40, you're drawing blanks. That's the area you got to work on, Adam, because you're right there for headliner. Because
So
once you
what do you
start doing a
do?
solid four, well, yeah, I told you what the fuck I do. I review all my show. Look, I work when I feel like it. Like I ain't even working in August because I don't feel like it. I got other shit I need to do that's more important.
Hmm.
But I never look at me taking time off for the stage because I plan when I want to work. Does that make sense? But I'm
Yeah,
always working on it so that I'm always ready. I stay ready so I don't have to get ready. I know I got shit coming up in September and June and late. But the thing is, I'll I might, this is what I'll do. I know I got a show coming up in Dania Beach, right? Casino. I haven't
hmm,
been there in 4 years, but I still got that tape. I'm going to listen to it on my phone, see what I used, what worked, what didn't work, and do a whole different fucking set.
so
And I'll start writing a review.
you use the shit from 4 years ago that you did?
No, I won't. That's what I'm saying. I'm going to listen to that show so I know what
Yeah,
the fuck I did. Because remember, everybody knows your last joke.
that's true.
You're not gonna remember what you did in the last city, but when you come back, they be like, "Oh my God, Adam, I'm glad you. I hope you do that joke about." And you be like, "Oh shit, I forgot. I get it all the time." I'm going to listen to that show because it's in my phone. I have phone shows in my phone all the way back to 2012. So everything else is on another phone or on a cassette or them little mini discs. I got all my shit from 1997 when I initially started. I literally have them in the box in under this storage. So if I ever wanted to get out and I had a cassette player and I wanted to listen to an old ass show and it still might play from 97, I could listen to it on my cassette if I had a
Yeah.
cassette player.
Did
I have it
somebody
on
did
DVD.
someone teach you that or did you just figure it out on your own?
I figured it out for me. I told you because I smoke weed and I could never remember shit. So I was like, I need to record this. I don't know what the fuck I said on stage. So I would just record them. And then I would be like, oh, that was funny. I don't even remember saying that. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Then I
So
start writing shit down.
just a result of being a pothead.
It's the result of being a pothead. My short term memory was fucked up. But my long term memory, I can remember shit way. It's
Yeah.
crazy because people will be like, girl, I saw you on such and such. I said, I know, bitch, because I had on my red shoes. That was in 2012. I had them shoes. I can tell you every outfit that I've had on. If you said came up to me and said about a show, and I do keep a log. Let me show you my log.
Yeah. I want to see this.
Well, this is like my 12th one. Shit, I keep them for. They're gonna go in the Smithsonian. All my shit is. So this is how I know where I've been. Okay, so you see how I write the city here, right
Yeah.
on the side. Can you see that?
Somewhat.
But that's my wardrobe. Yeah, so I write down everything that I wear. So when I look back, I like if I'm on my phone and I go to Dania Beach, then I'll look back in the old book and be like, oh, I wore that. I ain't gonna wear this or them shoes. You see what I'm saying? If I go
Yeah.
to places a lot. So yeah, I write down all of my outfits so I don't repeat shit wherever I go. Yeah, so I'll just you see that list what I
I
wear.
I do a similar thing. Like I I don't do it with
Mhm.
clothes because I don't have fashion like that. Like I just don't have style. But they
Thank God you
the
don't. I would think something different. Go ahead. Thank you for that piece of bit of
yeah,
information.
just metro up there. But yeah, no, I like having the records of that stuff. It's hard for me to like if I don't have any kind of baseline. It's like it's really hard. And I always find this interesting with like comics is like you're creative people. Like you gotta be silly
Mhm.
and you gotta be fun, but you have to have some kind of structure to what you're doing, or else it's like it goes it goes completely wild. Like I cannot go up there without any kind of a game plan. I like what you said about just like feeling the room out, getting a sense. I think Nate Jackson's probably the best person I know of just like getting a pulse on a room. Like I did that
You
weekend.
gotta get the pulse.
Yeah, but when you go up early, when you go up at the start of the show, like there's a certain like kind of the defense is like unfolding where you're like trying to the MC goes up and you don't know if it's him or if it's the room, and if you haven't played that room a lot, like you're kind of like taking information. So really by the middle of the feature set, you have a really good idea of like what the show is, but there's certain times too where shit just starts going sideways, and I don't know.
That's
It's
an interesting perspective. I never looked at it like that. That's a good basis in terms of like how the room, the tone is set. But I guess I never look at a tone because I know when I step on the motherfucker, I'm disrupting everything. I'm
sure, but
disrupting whatever the tone is.
that you're
That's why I feel
reacting to that tone, right? Like you were saying that
no.
you get a sense of like what the room is and then the things you want to talk about at least.
True, but I don't go off of who went before me or if the host was funny or not because you can't base everybody's not gonna laugh at everything. You see what I'm saying? And
Sure.
it's not a reflection on you, your jokes. So that's why like you said, it can go sour. And that's where the host is supposed to pick it up and make it be the shit. But then there are hosts that can't do that. And they just be like, all right, coming to the stage. And they just bring the next motherfucker right up. You've seen it. So that's where I don't let all of that get to me. Like if the first two people weren't funny and then the people are kind of sitting there and you're trying to read whether or not if it's them or if it's the room and they're not getting it, I don't give a fuck, Adam. And that's
Yeah,
the attitude you should have. Like, I don't give a fuck what this room, if they laughing or not, because I know when I step on this motherfucker, it's gonna be something.
for sure.
And that's all I think. Yeah, and I love your energy when you went up, when you stepped on the motherfucker. I don't think you was really concerned about the room. You did your shit.
Yeah.
You see what I'm
Yeah, I
saying?
mean there
Fuck
were
it.
two shows
People
that
laugh.
weekend where I went home just furious. I was so fucking mad
Really?
cuz cuz it was like I need to play that room more. It was I don't get a lot of practice in rooms like that on the weekends. And I think there were times where I just didn't own this stage the way that I needed to. Like there's a certain level of confidence that you need to have baseline. And
Right.
if your hand shakes at all, like they're gonna sniff it out. And yeah, I wasn't there's
Yeah.
a certain aspect of this year I've been working a lot, and I think working too much in stand up, like you can lose the excitement, lose the like fun of it, and then when you don't have that, it's hard for people to be into what you're doing, you know?
And that is exactly why I don't want to hear me tell the same jokes. Because I feel like I'm not growing or I'm not challenging myself when I know I'm smarter than that or I'm better than that. And I'm here, I'm not doing this for me. I'm doing it for the people. You see what I'm
Yeah,
saying? So that's why I look like it's like you're a martyr. You're being selfless in terms of you got to go out there and put your whole heart and everything for your 30 minutes, 20 minutes, an hour into these people and make them connect with you
yeah,
and not just make them laugh. You see what I'm saying? You have to make them fucking connect so that they can say, "Oh my God, you were the fucking funniest person I've ever seen," or that thing that you said, "I really love that," or "Can I take a picture with you?"
for sure.
And then they tell somebody else because you've touched them. There are people that make you laugh at them, but we're in this to touch motherfuckers. Laughter is healing. You see what I'm saying? If you can give people some therapy, that's why I'm intentional. with what I do. When I step on stage, I know exactly what the fuck I'm doing, what I'm going to talk about, and I'm intentional. And I know I hit upon everything that touched somebody in there where they can connect and say, you know what? I'm so fucking glad I came out, even though that bitch got on my nerve today at work. I'm glad I came to this show to see that bitch. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, that was
And
that
that's
was one
how
of
I
the
feel committed.
one of our listeners. I always ask people like ahead of time if they have any questions for our guests, and one of the listeners asked, you're inspirational in your comedy, like you that is one of the messages that you have in there, which I don't think
Thank
is
you.
super common in stand up. Like why do you do that? Why do you feel the need to do that, and what's driving that?
You know what? Even though I don't go to church a lot, I'm not one of them Bible toting people, but I'm very grounded in terms of my spirituality. And I know that I have an angel watching over me because I've traveled all over this world delivering my message and I've never had no drama in life. I mean, by myself. So I know that I have a purpose. And as I open up and I write journal every day, I have a whole stack of things over there. And when I write in my spiritual journal and I figure out my purpose, it's like God is telling me what I'm doing, and I can't tell you between my podcast and me just being on stage how people come up to me and just tell me how I've touched them or I've changed them in a certain way. And people be like, I've never gone to a comedy. This is my first show, but now I'm gonna go because it's healing. So that's how I know that I'm doing something that's more than me. It's more than me, and I feel like I'm earning my life on this planet, and I don't feel like I don't know how you feel about God, but I feel like what I've been told and what I've been taught, when I stand before God for judgment, you're not just being judged according to your sins. You're being judged according to how you live your life and what you've done with this life that He gave you on this planet. So I feel like we all have a purpose and we all share this as humans. So do what God gave you or, put you on this planet to do, touch somebody. So I feel like that's why I have even though my messages are funny and them shits are crazy, how I talk, but all my messages are about me. And
For
you know
sure.
that all my shit I talk about on stage is about me, shit that's happened to me. It's my story. I don't pick out people and talk about them. I don't be on, oh, white people do this and black people do that. I don't do shit like that because I got white and black in me. You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So I talk about shit that I know hits home because I'm relatable to everybody,
Well,
no
that's
matter what.
that's
And it
something
ain't about color.
I think it's interesting because a lot of times, like in stand up, you look at like the New
Mm-hmm.
York and the LA people, like there's sort of this excellence that they're looking for of like the tightest jokes possible. Like how many laughs per minute can you get, or like just crazy act outs and shit. But like to me, the material, like how relatable it is, like it's a reflection on like how you live. So
Live.
what you
Mm-hmm.
have to talk about, if all you're doing is getting on stage all the time, you don't have like what do you have to talk about? Like you have no real relationships. Like you're just up there all the time. So you got to
Right.
find some balance to that, and it's hard. Like I don't
You know what it is, Adam, and believe me, I went through it. It's hard being vulnerable because your best shit and the best comedians, the best, not comics, comedians, they open themselves up and they talk about the vulnerable shit. And it may include a mom, a dad, a brother, a cousin, a worker. And then, everybody else be thinking about, oh, if I say that joke about my mom's gonna be like, oh, why you, we go through that if we're gonna expose ourselves and say shit about people we know, our girlfriends, like, oh, if I tell about this, then the bitch is gonna leave me. And that's the stuff people relate to because it's real life. But that's
yeah.
the phase that we'll go through. And that's why you have those comedians that are superficial to me that just talk about daily shit like what's on the fucking news and Beyonce and then to me they're comics because they'll talk about shit, they make it funny and people laugh. But comedians, they open themselves up, they tell stories, but they draw people in. They gain the fucking audience and people are like, what the fuck? Like when they leave, it's like they've learned something, and it's like it's not just that they're funny. I've learned something here. They've taken me into a journey I didn't even know I could go. or whatever. And I think that's what makes a difference between a comedian and a comic. And that's what
I
makes
like
a
that.
difference between somebody that's long standing, and doing their shit, and short run, short lived. Because it is
Yeah,
work in what we do. You got to put the work in.
yeah. That I worked with Harlan Williams not too long ago,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and I don't know if you know him at all, but like I was in the green room with him for like this weekend at Spokane Comedy Club, and I've never met like when you meet like a real fucking comedian, I would include yourself in that group. Like it's this surreal thing because they just have this like peace about them, but they're also like they're so goddamn funny. It's such a bizarre thing to meet somebody that like he's had like 30 years of sustained.
Isn't that the guy that was in Half Baked?
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's the one that goes to prison in
yeah,
the movie.
I know who
Yeah,
it is.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
But he
Yeah.
like I grew up watching that dude, and he made me laugh just as hard at 34 that he did at 10. And it's like that's just it's like a Jedi. Like they're so I don't know how to describe. There's a certain thing about like real comedians when you meet them and you're around them and like I mean that's my favorite thing about this job is like I'm a fan of comedy and I get to meet these people and like even when I met like Nate and like fucking hung out with him for the first time, it's just so weird to see this body of work, like what they're capable of doing, but then you meet them and they're just like a normal person too. It's crazy.
And you know what? It's funny you say that because I am not a fan of comedy. I don't watch comedy. I don't watch other comedians. I don't even watch my fucking self. I just do my job and keep it pushing. I don't watch. I'm fucking corny. When I tell you all I watch is the Aerial America. I was so mad our streaming was fucked up and I couldn't watch Aerial America that they were flying over Idaho. But I've never been a fan of comedy. I've never studied ever. Like I don't. People be like, "You ain't seen the such and such special. You ain't seen the Dave Chappelle." I figure if I got time to sit around and watch and study other people, then I ain't doing my motherfucking job. That's
Yeah.
not me. Like I never go to comedy clubs and look at other people. I never did that. If I ain't on the show, I'm not going. And it's not because I don't support what people are doing. It's because I'm narcissistic and I'm always working on me.
Yeah.
And that's no lie. I can admit that about me. I've been consistent. Adam, everybody knows me and they know how I am. I'm really an introvert and I don't like really being around people.
Yeah.
I love to be by myself. And I can be by myself. And I'm only around people when I'm out on the road. Other than that, I'm not around nobody, only my husband. And even
Yeah.
when he wasn't around, I wasn't around people. I'm not a hangout kind of person. I'm cerebral. I love to write, to journal, draw, paint. I always got something to do that improve has to do with improving upon me. So I have 89 episodes of my podcast and live. You can go back and watch them. And I have not seen one. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Do you
Well,
watch
where
your own
is like
broadcast?
I can't my face like I'm like insecure just because like I don't have as much control over it as possible, and I'm like I cannot watch myself through shit like this. Like I
Will you
think
go back?
th-
Have you
say
gone
that
back and
again.
listened to your Have you gone back and listened to your shows, Fathom and Friends?
I don't
Any of
think
them?
so. I think it would crush me.
Oh well, we have different reasons. Me, it wouldn't crush me. It's just that I don't have the time
Yeah,
because I
yeah,
moved on. That hour that I'm listening to my podcast is an hour that I'm working on my show. It takes me all week to pull my shit together because I have a format. So it's a lot of work. So I'm always working on me and improving things on, things to get, just to make shit better. I'm
for
one of them
sure.
self improvement,
Well,
help
I like
book type of people.
that's
Yeah.
I would say the same. I just like I don't see the point in looking and seeing all the flaws of the previous stuff I've done. Like just keep
Right.
looking forward on making it better. So like if I see that stuff, I'll see where I've hopefully grown. But I don't want to look at the
Okay.
past shit. Like it's like look at my most recent stuff and like judge me based off of that collection of work, and like hopefully over time it just elevates, you know, like you can't get better at something by not doing it. So I don't,
That's so true.
yeah, there's a lot of people, they sit around, they like critique everything everybody else is doing. I'm like, you, okay, so you can be a great critic, like what can you do? Like let's see the actual work that you can do, and if you'll probably shut the fuck up when you're the one that's doing the work, you know? It's just it's easier to
I don't
point
even
the
know if
finger.
I don't even give a fuck. I'm
Yeah.
so horrible at social media. I've always been that way because I do what the fuck I want to do. And I
Yeah.
tell people all the time, I do it for love. I don't do it for the likes. So I said, I do my social media for me. It ain't
Yeah.
for other motherfuckers. And they be, this one lady hit me up talking about, you never post. I was like, why are you following me? Follow a motherfucker that's doing something. That's what I told her. I said, I do my shit when I feel like it, bitch. And
Yeah.
that's how I feel, Adam. I feel like I gotta get a certain amount of fans and be responding to motherfuckers. I do what I want to when I feel like it. Sometimes I don't. And I don't
Yeah.
care. I don't know them motherfuckers. So why would I be upset over motherfuckers that I don't know? I can't even deal with the motherfuckers that I do know, much less 15,000 motherfuckers that I don't know
For
that think
sure.
they know me. I be
Well,
wanting to say, bitch, let me troll your page. You ain't got shit to do. And
we
I
are
troll my
like
you know.
we're at about an hour here. If
Oh yeah.
I first off, like I appreciate you coming on. This was really fun, and
Thanks
I
for having
definitely
me on.
think, I don't know, I've done a lot of episodes, and a lot of comics check out this, and I think they'll get quite a bit out of it. But if people want to see more of your stuff, your podcast, like where can they find your stuff online?
They could watch me on YouTube, Tighten Up Tuesdays, live every Tuesday. And then you can always go back and watch the episodes. Other than that, I'm on Instagram at Flat Out Funny, and that's with the PH as you see. So that's PHLAOUT, PHUNNY. And I'm on Facebook, but I'm not accepting any new friends. I'm at my 5,000 limit. I've been there since for like 15 years.
Yeah.
So I have a fan page. I know all my 5,000 friends. Adam, I went through and deleted everybody I know on my Facebook page. And I only accept, it took me a year to do it. And I only accepted the people that I know. Ain't that crazy?
Yeah.
I figure
Yeah.
they're my friends and I'm going to just deal with them on that level. Everybody else is on my Facebook fan page. But yeah, you could catch me there. And every Tuesday, you can catch me on my live DIY podcast called Tighten Up Tuesdays, where I teach you how to tighten up the shit around your house with the things that you already have. So I have a whole nation of Picassos. Can I show you something that we make on our show that we
Sure.
made out of a ginger ale bottle and a can lid?
Yeah.
This is the kind of shit we do. It's a plant propagator. But it's a ginger ale bottle. See the top? Looks like a little bike.
Yeah.
These came off of Snapple. These are the Snapple lids for the. But this is a ginger ale bottle. This is a plastic knife. These are knives, and then this is a candle lid. And as you can see, that's where I cut off the top of the ginger
Yeah.
ale bottle. And we made these on our show. So everybody
That's
made
awesome.
one and they submitted pictures of their. Yeah. So this is like, don't throw shit away. I'm gonna show you how to make something with it.
I
So yeah,
love it.
this is the kind of shit we do on Tighten Up Tuesday.
Hell yeah.
Thank you.
Well,
I'll just sit it right back over.
yeah. I just want to say thank you so much for coming on. Like this was super fun. Really enjoyed
Thank
it.
you.
Shout out to Nate one more time for letting me work with you.
Yeah, shout out
And
to my friend. Yo, that's my fat brother.
and if you guys are watch us on YouTube, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, notifications bell. If you have a question for B or myself, throw it in the comment section. And then, as always, we're on Instagram at FNF yeah, I think that's all we got. Thank you so much for coming on, B. And we're going to leave you guys with jogging.
I just make the waves, I don't write them. I can hear the lyrics in my spirit as I write them. Why you wanna walk and talk just like them? I can't get caught up in all the hype and the excitement. I just make the waves, I don't write them. I can hear the lyrics in my spirit as I write them. Why you wanna walk and talk just like them? I can't get caught up in all the hype and the excitement. Welcome to my wave pool, my wave pool. 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 Welcome to my wave pool.